Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today I have a very special review for you of a very special knife that is going to be coming out later this year, and that is none other than the Null Knives Raiden. Now, before I go any further into this review, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now, let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length of 7.73 inches, a blade length coming in at 3.29 inches, with a blade width coming in at 1.06 inches. We have a blade thickness of 134 thousandths, with a blade material of M390, a drop point style blade, a flat grind, a handle length coming in at 4.44 inches, a handle thickness of 490 thousandths, and a handle width of 1.09 inches. Handle material on this guy is titanium with a frame lock locking mechanism and a user of a right hand only tip up carry, as well as a weight coming in at 3.81 ounces. This guy here is designed by a gentleman named Sean Null. Now, Sean is an engineer in New York, recently kind of getting into the knife industry. He's been a knife guy for quite a while, and he finally decided to bring a design to the table, and I think that's a fantastic thing. I'm going to touch on that a little more as I go through the review, but I really am loving seeing people that aren't directly working in the knife industry designing and bringing knives to the market for sale. It's a very interesting thing that's going on, and it's something that anyone can do if you have that ability. So it's a really cool thing going on right now, and it gives any knife collector or knife user some pretty awesome options of pieces to add to their collection. So I'm really loving what's going on within the industry right now. And this right here has a price of $285 for this version right here. Now, there's going to be two other versions. I'm going to show you all that in a second. The other two versions come in right around $300, but as I said, this one is $285. Now, let's take a look at some size comparisons here at just how big this knife is. This knife is coming in a very happy place for me in terms of size, and the best comparison I have is right here with the Civivi Brazen. Now, the Brazen is a little bigger, but not by much. We're going to line it up as close as we can. So as you can see, very similar to that Brazen. And just for one more comparison here, we have the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, which of course with that massive handle is going to be a lot longer, but just to kind of put things into comparison. So there is that. And I got one more here. We'll throw this out there because it's another good one that everybody knows. The Benchmade Bug Out, as you can see there, a little bigger than the Bug Out. So that should be that for size comparisons. I think everybody knows pretty much what we got here on the table. And before I get into actually talking about this knife, it's very important for me to specify this here is a prototype. If you look in here, right in there, you can see where it says Proto. This is a Proto, so obviously there's going to be some changes made to the production model, and let's take a look at that. In here, it's going to be coming with this right here. In place of original packaging or the standard box and all that stuff, you're going to get a pouch that I think is pretty cool. It protects the knife just as well. Nice little style to it. And in here, I have a piece of paper that outlines some changes that are going to be made to it. Now, I think I'm going to cover all of them, but I'm just going to kind of show it to you guys so you can kind of pause the recording here and read them for yourself and get any information you need. Here is the three options. That's for the different configurations there's going to be, so feel free to pause it and read the rest of that. And then there's going to be changes to this knife. The changes are as follows, right here. So, as you can see, there's thumb studs. The thumb studs are going to change. What you see here, the black, that's the thumb studs that is on the knife right now. They're changing to the blue. So they're kind of going a little lower in profile and a little wider. I don't see that being an issue, but I will say I really do like the thumb studs that are on the knife as is. So if it makes it better, that's going to be a huge bonus. Moving down into the rest of the knife, the finger choil, the weight reduction, the clip, the jimping, the thickness behind the edge, that's all going to be changing. So there you go. You can pause that and read all those just to ensure I don't miss anything. And now let's start talking about it. Blade. This is a very electrifying drop point design, and I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that. It lives up to the name very, very well of Raiden. The aesthetics scream Raiden from Mortal Kombat. It's a big lightning bolt, and it is a badass, sharp lightning bolt. Very, very amused with this design, and I say amused in a good way, not that it's funny or comedic. It's just... it's different, it's fresh, and I really do enjoy it. Now, in terms of the actual blade and the functionality of it, it's an excellent drop point. It's got that nice little harpoon up at the top that kind of gives it some character, and also adds a little bit of strength at the tip. More than anything, the edge on this guy. So right now, the edge is at 25 thousandths, but that's a proto, as you saw on the paper. This is going to be 19 thousandths on the production model, which is... good to go there, in my opinion. One blade that really kind of reminded me of this when I saw it, not the handle, but just the blade. I saw a lot of the Benchmade Velation in this guy when it first came out, and I saw the design. I was like, where have I seen that before? That's triggering in memory. I'm having a deja vu. I can't think of it. And then it hit me. It was the Benchmade Velation, which I actually had one of, but it was assisted, and I hated assisted knives. I actually took the assistance out of it, and it was a much better knife, but nonetheless... this one kicks the Velation's butt all day, every day, and we'll cover that as we continue to go into this review. But nonetheless, a very attractive drop point blade with a nice flat grind that's going to have a nice thin edge, and it's M390, so it's pretty much everything you look for in a good drop point blade. You have jimping up here. That's pretty good. Again, the jimping is going to be improved. The actual width between each jimping notch is going to be narrowed, which will give you a grippier feel. I will say right now you feel the jimping, but I can't say it's super, super tacky. Narrowing that jimping will make a big difference, and in my opinion, the production model will have fully functional jimping going off. Again, the change is noted. I think that's going to be a very good thing. As for these thumb studs, I don't have a problem with them. So again, like I said, if different thumb studs make it better, then far be it for me to say don't do it. That's going to be very exciting to see just how good those are, but these as is, I think, are pretty good. So if it gets better, that's going to be a huge bonus. Let's see, what else here? The way that this blade works with the handle is probably one of the coolest things, is what really ties your eyes into this design. The way Sean tied the blade into the handle, the way you have kind of the flat grind or the grind line ending and then continuing in the handle going back down through here, how, you know, the spine kind of rides up as a lightning bolt and goes up and comes up to the tip. It really brings a very unique character to this knife. And again, I get into the aesthetics, guys. You know that. So if I'm sounding stupid right now, fast forward it or something. I don't know. It's one of the things that really make me enjoy knives is the craft and the uniqueness behind each design, and this is a very unique one. So I'm really enjoying talking about this and kind of pointing out what separates it from so many knives, because at the end of the day, this is a titanium folder with thumb studs and a drop point blade. You see a lot of those, but you don't see this type of design language on every knife. So it's very important to point that out and emphasize that. Going into the handle and ergos, they're surprisingly really good. There's some points, there's some areas on the knife that you feel, but again, some of those are going to be corrected, and some of that just has to do with the handle, and it's not uncomfortable. Again, it's unique, but it works so well. My hands fit very well into this knife. We all have different hands, but just watching my hands wrap around this, my index and middle finger fit perfectly in there, and my ring finger and pinky wrap right around the bottom, kind of little wider portion of the handle very well. My thumb lands right on the jimping, and it's just good to go. Even as is, it feels really good in hand. The one thing that I will point out that I am feeling and I don't quite love is the clip back here, right up here at the tip. I do feel that. Now again, reference back to those notes you saw, that's going to be changed. The tip of this clip is going to be smoothed out, so you're not going to feel that so much in hand, and that is a very good thing. But as for this clip by itself, it looks really good. It's a unique clip design, and it kind of contrasts with all the sweeping lines in the handle that are sweeping down in kind of a wave. This one's coming up. So you have that nice little clash there that gives it that extra little bit of pizzazz, we'll call it. I don't know. It looks really good, though. Really love the lock side of this knife, almost as much as the show side of the knife. And you don't say that very often. That's usually kind of a taboo thing to say, but I really dig this side. I dig this knife from every angle. It's a very, very attractive piece. And in terms of build quality, it's great. The back spacer along the back is nice and long. Extremely solid knife. You could say this knife is built like a tank, in all honesty, with all this titanium, but milling for days. Look at all that internal milling. It looks fantastic. And again, reference the notes, there's going to be more milled out of it, so it's going to be even lighter. So it's just getting better and better as we talk about it. And it really has me excited to check out a production model of this. I think it's going to, as impressed as I am with this, I think the production model is going to be even better. So that's exciting. This pivot here is different. Now, I don't have an issue with it. Some people said it didn't quite fit with the knife, and I'm not here to argue or disagree with anybody. I would rather have a pivot like this than something with some type of annoying branding or logo on the pivot. I'll take this all day over something like that. So I don't really have anything negative to say about it at all. It's there, and it's better than some annoying branding. I'll say that and leave it there, but no real issue with that. Everything else, the actual access to the lock bar, I really like what Sean did there. I like that jimping there. It works really well to just break it open. The blade comes down, shake shut, and you're good to go. When it's closed, you have that extra little right up here. This is important to point out. There's a lot of knives. I got the bug out right here. It's a great example that do this. The blade just stops, and you kind of have that dead area there that doesn't really look that great in my opinion. But up here, it's a nice, clean, continuing design that just, the whole handle is just, there's no abrupt endings to the lines of this knife. They just go together very well. Action on this guy. Freaking fantastic. Some of the best thumb studs I've used in quite a while. They're placed in the perfect spot. The actual, the pivot area and the kind of the force you generate when you kick this blade out, you can deploy this blade in a lot of ways. You can go straight out, kind of like this, which I will do, or you can actually just go straight up, straight up, and it works. Or you can also, of course, middle finger flick it, and that works great as well. So there's really no wrong way to deploy this blade. What I do find really unique about the action of this knife is just how fast you can kick that blade out. And boy, it makes quite the sound and comes out with quite the speed to where it's just very enjoyable. Very fidgety knife, and being so smooth as it is, that's another thing that's very important. Now, obviously, the smoothness when when a blade's being deployed, that's important for every model. But I think I appreciate it more on a thumb stud model, I think is the best way to say it. Because a flipper's always good, but a thumb stud, I think it's a pretty easy thing to say that flippers are easier to deploy than thumb studs for most people in the knife industry. Anyone that's a knife person, or anyone, even people that aren't a knife person, for the average person to deploy a knife, a flipper's the way to go. A lot of people, they struggle with thumb studs. So the smoothness in a thumb stud deployment is a little more important to me, I think. They're important on a flipper or a thumb stud, but right here, what you have here is just buttery action. Very buttery action, especially on the way out. So good. Nice, solid thwack. And once you close it, you got to break the detent area, which sometimes, since it doesn't have a flipper, I've cut myself enough to where I'm a little more careful when I'm disengaging a lock bar. Sometimes I don't let go in time to go past the detent ball. Sometimes I stop the lock somewhere in between the detent ball and the actual blade, and then you kind of have to, give it a little extra shake, which the last two times have been good. It happened earlier, but like this right here, it's stuck on the detent ball. That's not an error on the knife. That's an error on me for not disengaging the lock enough. So once you pass that detent ball, then it shakes shut. It almost falls shut. So very, very smooth closing. Very, very nice action. Overall thoughts on this guy are very good. The pre-order for this knife has come and gone, unfortunately. It sold out in under 5 minutes. The pre-orders filled in under 5 minutes. So let that sink in. This is going to be a very popular knife this year. Now, I did talk to Sean. There's going to be extras after pre-orders are filled. I don't know how many. Again, that's for Sean to let you guys know. So my recommendation to everyone is to follow Sean on his Instagram page, Null Knives, just like that. Yeah, you see how Null is spelled in the thumbnail of this video. Null Knives. Look him up on Instagram. Give him a follow. If you want one of these guys, get ready, because it's gonna take quite the hunt. You're gonna take a little patience, and then you got to get it just the right time, because they're gonna sell fast, and deservedly so, because it is just a very, very nice knife. Very fidgety knife, very unique design that has obviously been very appealing to a lot of people due to it selling out the pre-orders in 5 minutes. So regardless of what I think of it, people want it, and what I think of it is very good. Overall thoughts are fantastic. I think everything about this knife is a good example of what's happening in the knife industry right now, to where anyone, if you want to, if you have the funds and you have a design, you can get a hold of a knife company and you can get a production knife made. I think that's really cool. I don't know how everything's going to progress and shake out in the long term, but right now it's resulting in some very, very attractive designs, and this Null Knives Raiden is a prime example of that. So let me know what you guys think of this design. Are you gonna try and grab one of the extras after the pre-orders fill? I'm excited to hear your thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope to see a lot more from Null Knives, and a lot more from other creative artists out there that enjoy knives. If you have a knife design that you think is a popular design and will do well, look into getting a production model made, because it's a great time to do it. It's a very exciting time in the knife industry, and this is one of the reasons why right here. The Null Knives Raiden. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and until the next one, I'm out.